looks good. That does look good. He got mad because I don't have depth in the background, so
Yes, you see,
I had to do
it's.
something. I look like I'm in Safari.
Have you ever been on safari?
I was just talking about this and I want to go.
Is okay, yeah.
Have you? It's a schlep.
No, I think you have to get these shots or something. You have to be
I
very
heard that.
careful.
I heard that you have to get like
Malaria? Say again?
I said you got to smear a little bit, you know?
You know what I'm gonna bring? I have a water bottle so I don't get
Oh,
parched.
have you ever done a podcast before?
I have not. This is my first one.
I will say when it comes out, for whatever reason, because I get close, my head is always the biggest.
Craig's on when he shouldn't be, but hello, Craig.
I'm on. Let's just wing it.
Let's get into it.
Get right into it, Jay.
1, 2. Welcome to Hustle and Schmear, the podcast where ambition meets anxiety and we laugh through it all. I'm your host, Jason Salstein.
And I'm Liz Cohen. Today, I'm excited for this one. It's a family affair.
A family affair. Did we get clearance for that? We're joined by my triplet brother, Craig Salstein.
So excited to be here.
You may know him as a former soloist with American Ballet Theater, a Broadway performer, a teacher, a choreographer, and low-key, what I like to call the ballet whisperer of our generation. He's worked with legends like Bradley Cooper, Justin Peck, Ray Fiennes, Mark Morris, the great Steven Spielberg, Misty Copeland. But I knew Craig back when he wore Spider-Man pajamas and danced in the kitchen.
Accurate.
We're talking ballet, the art of discipline, what it means to really dedicate your life to something.
And of course, what parents should be doing when their kids want to be a swan. Let's get right into it. My brother, the great Craig Salstein.
So nice of you to introduce me like that. I appreciate that. Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be here on Hustle and Schmear.
Where are you today? Where does today find you?
In my mother's apartment. I live on the 4th floor. My mother lives on the 31st floor.
Okay.
And here I am. All this.
Even before we get to your career, which is amazing, and I want to hear all about the celebrities and all about the background, I want to hear about you and Jason. And not everyone knows that you all are triplets.
Boy, this is going to be an eating.
But I want to hear about you as a child and Jason, your interactions, and how you came to be who you are today.
Okay, well, as a child, I remember being in tune with my body physically. Like, I began rolling around, climbing on things. So I had that sort of mind-body connection. With Jason, we would sometimes put on shows. You would walk into our house.
You opened the door and there was a wall that was a mirror, so everything that went in reflected back out.
Yorma Elo's wife is a feng shui doctor. We could have used her.
Don't want the mirror when you walk in because the money that comes into the house reflects and goes out.
I see. Okay. So at any rate, we would put on shows. Jason was into music. I was aware of his taste in music. I liked Michael Jackson. We were exposed to good music. Jason, he had a vibe in his room. Jason actually defined his taste. As I said, I was really in tune kind of with moving my body. I started as a gymnast. At first, it was no fear. When you're a kid, you're just doing somersaults.
Right.
And I put in dance because I was definitely attracted to music and what happens to the body when music is played. There was no question that I could not stop grooving with the music. And as Jason said, we always had good music. At that time, I had been taking dance very seriously. I utilized line and form, but I had a special knack at creating a good line. For that time, I was above the standard.
Well, how did you know? Look, I did tap dancing in a bumblebee outfit. I wasn't making it to the next phase. When did you know?
Right away, competitive dance. I joined a studio. The great Mia Michaels, her father had a studio. After your school hours, you go to this studio and dance and use your body. You hear new words. You're around different people and you're dancing. and you're learning a routine. You may have a solo, but you're dancing in groups. So you get to meet people and you get to dance alongside, which is so part of our inner workings. It's so primitive. I mean, to think back on how in caveman times where you celebrate building fire and you dance and you beat the drums and move your feet. And I think that's what you could tap into with me. I felt very connected to that. So that's what it looked like. And I will say, I do recall doing ballet, but recognizing right away that this was most difficult discipline. You know, if dance exists under an umbrella, there are different little sections of that umbrella. In that, there's the jazz, there are no other. At the center, at the crux of that umbrella is ballet, is really ballet. It's that form that helps create good function. I would say ballet is at the forefront of all types of dance. After I was on a show called Star Search with Ed McMahon.
We'll back to Star Search, where we go for the big and the little stars and catch them. Now, we caught the junior dance champ in Miami, and that's all it took. A Star Search welcome to 11-year-old Craig Salstein.
So after being on Star Search, to make a long story short, I didn't have a singing voice. So I was going to these Broadway auditions and I would get far, but I would then be cut after the singing. So ballet is a silent art form. And I wanted to make my life as a dancer. I wanted to make a living as a dancer.
So Craig was going on auditions for both Broadway shows and commercials. He got a few commercials, actually. Creepy.
It makes supersized bugs and Power Rangers. Super fast.
I couldn't act, nor could I sing.
I remember him doing talent shows at the JCC. My mom noticed that he was better than just he's okay or good. He has something. She recognized that he had talent. And so she started to cultivate that and started competing and would go to dance competitions and he would win. I mean, he would come home with trophies this high.
But my first real endeavor to be a ballet dancer was my first day at the Miami City Ballet School. I was like, oh yeah, this is it. Yeah. So we met with Linda Villela, who was Edward Villela's wife. She ran the Miami City Ballet School, and she was like, enroll him in ballet class. I enrolled in.
And by the way, Miami City Ballet was located on Lincoln Road at the time. So when you're taking ballet class on Lincoln Road, people were walking by, you could see Miami City Ballet dancing.
Yes,
I remember watching Craig taking class, waiting for him to be done, eating at Pacific time with my mom. You were becoming something at Miami City Ballet. Craig was very talented and people knew it right away.
Well, that's nice. Edward Villela took an interest, and for the next 4 years, I was in the school of the Miami City Ballet. It was a wonderful gift because they had incredible teachers. They pushed me to better my technique. After 4 years, I was invited to join the company, the Miami City Ballet. And for 1 year, I was touring with the Miami City Ballet.
And Craig, how old were you? You were 16 at the time?
16. Battling. It was a battle. It's hard. The students would come at 4 when school was out. When I signed professionally,
Yes.
that was a 10 to 6 job with an hour break.
Wow, it's a long day.
So at that time, it was a non-union job. When you're in a union job, you can actually work overtime. And when I joined, which I'm jumping ahead, you can actually work 10 to 7 straight. without any breaks.
Physically, that's demanding. So you're in the Miami City Ballet. When did you make your way to
New York.
New York?
There was something happening in this company in New York called the American Ballet Theater. I felt like, wow, I want to be a part of that too. Hard to leave Miami City Ballet. I actually felt like I was missing a little something in my dancing. So I was offered a job not in American Ballet Theater, the main company, but their junior company, well, ABT Studio Company, which is the stepping stone right before you get into the main company. So I had to go into Edward Villalla's office and be like, I've decided to go to ABT Studio Company.
Oh, how did that go?
It was okay. He was very understanding. Edward Villalla was a dancer of the New York City Ballet.
Which was right next door.
Right, across the plaza, as they say. Lincoln Center. Jason's favorite place to just walk around and, as he says, I'm just taking a lap.
I find it to be the heartbeat of the Upper West Side.
So you're at ABT. So you move at what age from Miami?
I think I'm 17 because we started ABT Studio Company in 2000.
Were you scared? Were you nervous?
I was like, this is what I do. So
Right.
I take class, dance how I can dance, and then learn the choreography. That's what you do. That's what I tell young students. Like, actually, a student came up to me who just got a job in a ballet company in North Carolina, is it? And he was like, do you have any recommendations? Do class, learn your choreography, and be ready to perform. That's it. What I say to dancers is blend in for a couple years. Do your job. Put your head down.
Sort of like prove yourself until...
Yeah, do your job. Don't make an issue. Just do it.
So you moved. Were you by yourself? Did your mom come? Like, what?
My mom came for a little bit to set me up. My mother is a New Yorker. My father is a New Yorker.
Lived on 33rd and 3rd.
I lived in Murray Hill at first. So my mom set me up, made sure I was good.
It was East Bridge Landing.
Okay.
So
Like it was yesterday.
he remembers it. Yeah, we do have a good memory. Shout out, fellow.
Oh, what's that?
My first gift.
A little sponsor ad right here.
And we're back.
And we're back.
I want to hear about your first role and then your favorite role.
My first role actually was, there are two first roles for me, if I remember. In the summer program in 1999, I had already been at ABT summer program, but this summer program was particularly special. On a Monday, we were in a placement class, and I look over, and there's this beautiful young lady. Her name is Misty Copeland. And
Hello.
if that was a Monday in June in 1999, that following Tuesday, I was paired up with her to learn a ballet called The Eyes That Gently Touch, which was choreographed by Kirk Peterson. And it was in the summer program, but I remember this was special because I was partnering somebody who was, if you rewind, me saying I was in tune with my body. This individual was really in tune with her body. And so I started partnering with Misty, and it was fantastic. And when we both joined the studio company together in the year 2000, and my first role with her was Prince Desiree in Sleeping Beauty. It was the pas de deux, the Act 3 wedding pas de deux. That was a little bit more difficult because the first pas de deux that we were paired
What's a pot? Can you just...
A dance for two.
Okay, got it. Pas de deux.
Lifting, and you're walking the dancer around, or you're running, anything that you do with another individual. So the first...
Jason, where'd you go?
Can we get another Should I start co-hosting? Welcome to Hustle Schmear.
Craig.
I'm your vacation replacement.
Let's get back.
Where were we? Pas de deux.
So I'm with Misty in the studio company. Some great dancers. David Hallberg, who is now the director of the Australian Ballet. And we basically grew up in the culture and the environment of American Ballet Theater. From there, we went from the studio company to the Corps de Ballet. We were all promoted soloists. I spent most of my entire career at ABT as a member of
I mean, let's take a pause for a second because that's like, Craig, I know I'm not supposed to.
Yeah, what you do,
That's a big deal. I mean, that's what everybody else, think about all the other kids. That's what
Yes,
they're working towards.
good. Keep working towards it. As long as you put the work first and, do your best. That's it. That's all I say. Do your best. You may not hit the bullseye, but just try to be close, And do your job. If you're required to do rehearsal, make sure you're there. You're focused. Don't lose eye contact. Don't talk in the back. Pay attention.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
This is your teacher energy coming out.
Pay attention.
What does the discipline of ballet teach you that real life doesn't?
It's a very good question. I think it's two sides of one coin. You utilize everything you learn in ballet to life. Again, how you talk to people, how you ask a question, how you coexist with your colleagues on tour, how you split a check when you're all at dinner. It's a way of life. Ballet, for me, is a way of life. What I would say is try not to let your professional envy eat out. That's really important because you will see people go far ahead of you. And you will think to yourself, why am I not on the same track? And that's just because you're not on the same track. You will not be on the same track as other individuals. You are on your track. So you have to be okay with it. There's a reality to it. You can have dreams, you can have hopes and aspirations. When you get into the company, you will have to deal with the reality. And the way you deal with it determines how you succeed.
Well, what's something young dancers should be doing if they want to go pro?
Taking care of your bodies. There are times when you get injured. Take care of your body. Stretch, strengthen. Make sure you take class up until Grand Allegro. That means big jumps. Start with pliés. Can do it at the bar. Go into the center. Do your turns. For individuals who want to put the point shoes on, work your point shoe, be in the shoe. Don't give up because it's hard. The chances of you doing bad are very high. You have to keep trying. You're going to be bad. It's okay to be bad.
Life. Yeah, that's great. I mean, that is applicable.
It's okay to be bad.
It's not okay to be bad at the level that you're at when you're in the company.
Okay, all right. So one can assume the ticket into the professional world is that you aren't bad. But when you're rehearsing, you can get better. And you're going to go through this, you could go through this self-annihilation. Like, I am so bad, I am so bad. Okay, from there, what are you going to do to make it better? You have to be okay with trying a few more times. There are a lot of times where people throw in a towel.
Too, like, prematurely.
Prematurely. Take your time. It's okay to be bad at first.
Right.
Well, what if you're bad at third and you need to recognize?
Well, then that's different. Then you're kind of reassessing.
Even then, it's still okay. Don't worry, someone will go, this isn't working. But at least attempt. Right. Present your work. Show your work. Show it.
How has social media changed your branding? Was it that you felt that you were older for this?
I think we're kind of coming up with similar things, especially when you're not used to being, you're a performer.
I would always come out on stage and be like, I worked 15 years or so. What are you all looking at? What are you all about to judge me on my 2 seconds out there?
Which is stressful. I want to hear about working with Steven Spielberg a little bit. We got to get into that. And then teaching, because now my understanding is...
Well, I've always been teaching, so...
even throughout.
1, 2, and 3, and 1 more time, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2 last time, and down, up, down, and up, 1, 2, 3.
Even throughout. My first real ballet class teaching was the studio company, my first year. So if we toured October of 2000, I was teaching in October of 2000.
To younger kids, younger people?
No, to my colleagues.
Oh, really? How did that go over?
Yeah, you just do it. You make it work. Just start to understand what other people need. Yes, there are things that you need, but if you're going to do teaching, you need to understand what people need. Okay, Spielberg, how does that come about? So, I'm closing up a Broadway show called Carousel. It was a revival, and Justin Peck is the choreographer. And he's like, would you like to assist me on my next project? Absolutely. That next project was Steven Spielberg's directorial musical. It was his first time directing a musical, West Side Story. And Justin was to be the choreographer. And what an experience it was. My job was to assist with my longtime friend and colleague, Justin Peck's wife, Trisha Delgado, whom I've known since my first days at the Miami City Ballet. We were to facilitate and uphold an environment so that Justin could really sink his teeth into choreographing a masterpiece that had already been choreographed by Jerome Robbins. And this was his take on it. And it was a phenomenal experience. Justin was able to see it. He knew what camera angles to capture. What does it mean to walk around the dancer?
That's awesome.
So I learned a lot. No, this was New York and Patterson, New Jersey. The script was written by Tony Kushner, who is the ultimate. And not only that, Steven Spielberg's producer, Christy Krieger, was amazing, fantastic. Everybody was playing at the highest level.
Well, you're with the best of the best.
You're with the best of the best.
And then there's you. That's a big deal.
So they were early morning. I would meet Justin and Patricia at their apartment at 3:30 in the morning to get to a 5 a.m. shoot. Yeah, this was a tough 8 months. Patricia and I helped out a 12-week schedule for the production team. And it was great to just flush out ideas and be safe. It was great to work with people you know. And it was a great experience. It was long. Movies are hard.
Yeah, and
any Spielberg stories to share real quick?
A ton. We would have what they would call lunch at 2 a.m. if we were on a night shoot. But we would sit with him and he would talk about Goonies and why Baby Ruth, because Baby Ruth was his favorite candy. And of course, Oz gets to eat a Baby Ruth. He talked about at the wrap of that movie, the director was so excited to get away from those kids. And it turns out Steven Spielberg had flown all the kids to be waiting in I think it's Chris Columbus's home. And when Chris thought he was walking into an empty home to detox, Steven had all those kids there, Sean Astin, they were all there waiting for the director to come home. I teach a lot. I teach everybody.
Ballet. Another ballet. Ensemble. Other side. Good.
At the moment now, I also teach injured dancers who are coming back from injury, and I help them get back to what we call comfort, or back to that environment, because we know how difficult it is injured to get back. So help people.
That takes
injury.
That's really important, and actually that takes a lot. I feel like that would take a lot of patience too, to
yes,
not only for you,
absolutely.
But for them.
I have that patience and I have that empathy and compassion, because nobody wants to be injured, nobody wants to hurt, nobody wants to have their bodies give up on them.
Right.
They want to get back.
And mentally, you're probably there, and it's hard for someone who's really a dancer at that level to not realize your body is not quite back.
Yeah. So when a dancer gets injured, they're usually offer a certain amount of time. Depends on the injury. There's no real bridge to go from that injury back into training. You're sort of just thrown into the company. So the head of the New York City Ballet's health and wellness team, Marika Molnar, who is a fantastic physical therapist, has put me on staff to help dancers recover from injury. I go through the technique gently. I go through building back stamina strength and physical strength slowly and steadily, and so that person hopefully never gets injured.
And did you have any injuries as a dancer during your time?
Well, I had some pains. I had irregular patellar tendonitis. I had a second-degree foot sprain once, but other than that, there's nothing, thank God, too drastic.
How do you see the role of body image and mental health in dance?
I would like to address the mental side first. To be very honest, open. I have obsessive disorder. Intrusive thoughts. So with me, performing, things started to creep out
Did you always
psychologically.
have that, or do you think
Always,
okay.
always.
Was that
So
fear on stage, or was that fear that you were going to forget your?
everything. For instance, I once had a bad act one of a role that I was doing, and I thought if I moved my shoes over to one side of the room and put my cell phone in its charger, that's how far back we go. It was a cell phone charger. You put it in the slot, and I thought that would help my performance. So I went to a doctor, and he, obviously said, "Here's what you have. I can help you. We could do talk therapy and we can put you on medicine." And so that was the case. And it's been helpful. Take, for instance, the Metropolitan Opera. There are two ways to get down to stage. If I take these staircases, I will have a good show. If I walk by this dressing room aisle, I will have a good show. It was sort of superstitious behavior or ritualistic behaviors. It was just too much.
Everyone has, I think, a lower level of that.
Yes, correct.
When it's inhibiting your day-to-day.
It was totally inhibited.
So-
All right. So yes, if you have mental health problem, body, go see a doctor. Express yourself. Tell them what's going on. If you're crying, if you're in a dark place, do your best to get out of the darkness. Okay, because that's kind of not where you're meant to be. And if you need help, just go call a hotline. Do what you got to do. You need to try and enjoy life, or the life that you chose.
And now that you've gone through all that, what would you say to your 16-year-old yourself, knowing what you know now?
Get out of your head. Be present. Be focused. Don't have professional envy. Don't be jealous of others. Stay away from that. Concentrate on you and your progress. Everybody's on their own.
Did you have a mentor to instill that in you?
John Meehan.
Could you talk a little bit more about your education in dance, from Tony to Mia to Stanley?
Well, I feel like there's always a person, a teacher who makes an impact on you, and you gravitate towards that type of energy. For sure, Nancy Raffa, Tony Catanzaro, Mia Michaels, Talani, Stanley Williams, Edward Villela, John Meehan, Kirk Peterson. There are so many teachers. The list goes on. Martine Van Hamel, Christine Spiso, Rebecca Wright.
I'll say this, now you have students, so when they're getting on pods, they're going to be like, and Craig Salstein, you're paying it forward.
After West Side Story, I get a phone call from Justin that, like, they're going to do a movie about Leonard Bernstein, and it's going to be directed by Bradley Cooper. And he wants to do this scene where he becomes one of the sailors in a ballet that I've done my entire life, which is Jerome Robbins' Fancy Free. And he was like, I think you're going to go and teach him this part. For the film that Amblin produced, Spielberg and Chris Krieger, called Maestro. Here I am, slated to go and walk into Bradley Cooper's apartment and start teaching him this role.
And Craig, you actually performed this role many times.
There are 3 sailors in the ballet Fancy Free, and I performed the first sailor, and he wanted to do a section of the 3rd sailor. And Justin calls me up. He's like, this is Justin on the phone. He's like, but you want to go in and see? So I was like, of course. And so again, it doesn't matter who it is. You get the responsibility, you prepare for the responsibility or execute the responsibility, and you do it the best that you can. And it goes back to whether it's Bradley Cooper or whether a student, a young individual, you just do it. You do your job and you just do it as best you can.
Yeah, you've worked with Misty, you've worked with Steven Spielberg, you've worked with Bradley. Ralph Fiennes.
I had the great privilege of working with Ralph Fiennes. Here's another moment. Justin calls me and he says, this actor who plays Voldemort and the English Patient and all the other roles that Ralph
A couple of little projects.
is coming to New York, and he would like to do ballet. So Justin's Manor. Do you want to go? I said, sure. So I had the amazing opportunity to work with this incredibly committed artist, Ralph Fiennes, who is one of the most spectacular actors. He was doing a play here called Straight Line Crazy. And it was such a wonderful experience. wonderful actor, wonderful guy, generous.
So incredible to be around like talent like that and being able to contribute to their talent, which is
I am fortunate, but it's not, I mean,
It's your job, right? That
So what gets you excited?
is turning on the light for people who are in darkness with their
Oh wow.
and when you're injured and it's a dark place, and if I could shed light or if I could help them move their hand towards the switch, that is something I really treasure. That's a real special.
That is a mitzvah, is what I would say. Okay, now I know you got to head out in 5 minutes.
I'm good. I love this podcast. This
We're
was
so
a
glad to
wonderful
have you
experience.
on.
we're not done yet. We got a few more.
Thing?
What do you want your legacy to be in the dance industry?
Someone who helped others.
I think you're already there, Craig.
That's what I want.
Well,
It was so great talking to you, Craig.
for
Great
joining. We really appreciate your time. We know that this is the last place you would want to be.
I want to hear about the opera later.
Yeah.
Here's what we're going to do next. When we're in New York, Craig, is for it. We're going to go out and hit the streets. And I want to do a day with Craig Salstein, like in the morning. What are you doing? So if you're open to it, we're going to do it.
2-2, and I'll bring my Capizia. You will do
All right.
class. So
Thank you.
The hustle is real, and the schmear is extra.